Hey guys, it's Liv here. In today's video, we're going to be taking on the ladder with the Flutter Mane Sun Team. Now, I will say, as a preface, I understand that Torkoal is not that good right now. However, this is one of the many teams that I've built, and I have a lot of different teams that I've personally built that we're actually going to be starting a series with. So this should be a nice change of pace from last time where I had a lot of teams from outside sources. These are all actually teams that I have built, and I at least thought they were good enough to where I considered bringing these to my first regional that's coming up soon. So it should be a nice, fun way to start off the series, in my opinion, as these are all teams that I think realistically you guys could at least get some pretty decent results with from my own personal experience. So if you enjoyed and you want to see more, like and subscribe, and answer the comment question of the day: what Paradox Pokemon are you looking to use first? I wanted to use Flutter Mane. In fact, I thought it would be the best Pokemon all series, and I'm kind of shocked that it's not even in the top 3 in my opinion, but we'll get into that as the series goes down, and I'll explain some of these Pokemon that are really good. With that said though, let's start with the team. So first up, we have a Focus Sash Flutter Mane with the Focus Sash Terra Fairy. Terra Fairy is designed to boost the damage of Moonblast and Shadow on a Dazzling Gleam, as these are primary stabs here. We have Protect in the set just to scout, as especially with the Terra Fairy, we do lose our immunity to Fake Out, so it's good to try and keep this in the back. Meanwhile, we also have Shadow Ball just as a strong way to take on opposing Pokemon. With the Terra Fairy as well, if you were to run this with a Choice Spec set, it's actually comparable to like Geomancy's Xerneas damage. So of course, it is something to keep in mind. This Pokemon is very damning, even with just a Focus Sash. It is still like nearly at the Geomancy's Xerneas level. Up next though, we do have the Furgraf. This is the Throat Spray Terra Normal. This is designed to boost Hyper Voice damage, and with the Armor Tail we're blocking priority. This is useful for taking on stuff like King Gambit, for example, and with King Gambit Flutter Mane, we can get around Focus Sash and Sucker Punches potentially, which does help a lot with making sure that Flutter Mane doesn't need to go for Terrestrial Fairy actually, and can just target a single target Pokemon with a Moonblast in the following turn. With the Sassy Nature, we're able to boost our Spadef, and this is designed to mostly take on, I want to say this was for Flutter Mane. I want to say it was for like Moonblast Flutter Mane. I actually do forget. Let me pull up my notes real quick, because I did type this out actually in another server. But essentially though, I made sure that my Furgraf was guaranteed going to be able to handle just some sort of really good special attack. Yeah, Torkoal. So Furgraf is, yep, both specs Flutter Mane from full HP as well as a full HP Terra Fire Charcoal Eruption Torkoal, which is one of the most common Trick Room options on teams. So obviously I figured, you know, this is a very Spadef option. It can definitely get some good damage off on that later on with the Hyper Voice. So the rest is thrown into Fizz Def, as we can take at least one, before we go for a Terra, we can actually take a Hariyama Close Combat from Guts, which is actually really good. So we can also, with Post Terra, take a knockoff from that Pokemon, which again causes some 50-50s on what Hariyama would attack into. So it's overall really good defensive piece against a lot of common Trick Room threats. 20 special attack is just left over, so it's still useful to boost Shadow Ball and Hyper Voice damage, and Imprison's great to stop Trick Room in case I want to preserve Flutter Mane's speed. We have Hariyama here. This is just Spadef to try and help a lot with stuff like Armor Rouge. If I remember correctly, you can dip this down to 228 to take the Sun Armor Rouge hit pre-Terra or Weakness Policy, but I still just figured it's such a negligible amount. The 28 Fizz Def didn't do anything as far as I remember. With Wide Guard, it's great for stopping stuff like Expanding Force, Armor Rouge, which is still huge as format, Gleam from Flutter Mane, or really just any sort of spread. There's a lot of spread in this format, and having Wide Guard Hariyama for this is incredible. They got his great lead with both Flutter Mane and also Furgraf, two of the most common Pokemon I lead with this. We have Close Combat just for stab and knockoff just for Psychics and Ghosts. Overall, we have Arboliva up next. The 220 special attack makes this into an actual like Roaring Moon check, and it's a really good one. Under Trick Room, we have the Gleam, which can guarantee take out any sort of non-Terra Roaring Moon, all the way up to 36 HP, which is the minimum benchmark to get a speed boosting set on Roaring Moon with booster energy. On top of this as well, with Roaring Moon going for Terra Flying, which is one of the most common Terra types it goes for, if we actually go for Terra Rock, we can still KO it with the Terra Blast Terra Rock with the 220 special attack. With the 84 Fizz Def, I forget what we ended up going for. Oh yeah, the 204 HP is for a Life Orb number, and the rest is for Fizz Def, so it actually wasn't for anything specific. This means that we only take 17 every time we go for a Life Orb attack here, which is pretty valuable, and the 84 Fizz Def is just to help with physical attacks, because it's a slightly weaker physical defensive stat. With Giga Drain, it's just a strong stab option, and with Seed Sower, of course, when we get hit with a physical attack, or I think it's just with any attack actually, yep, just any attack, the Grassy Terrain will activate, which should boost his damage even further while giving us some recovery, which should make up for some of the Life Orb damage we're taking. Up next, we do have King Gambit with the Defiant Terra Flying Assault Vest set. This is designed so then we should be able to guarantee take on Flutter Mane pre and post Terra, because of course it is neutral. So we're designed to make sure that we're taking on even Specs Flutter Mane with this actually, even if it's Terra Gleam or like any sort of Terra Moonblast, for example. So of course we're guaranteed set in that regard. Not only this, but we also do have stuff like Kowtow Cleave and Sucker Punch as strong stabs, Iron Head for fairies, and then Brick Break is for opposing Kingambits. The 172 attack is just the leftover offense after going for the necessary calcs for Flutter Mane, so we'll definitely take that. Finally in the team, we do have Torkoal with the Choice Specs, not the Choice Specs, the Charcoal Eruption set. Just standard Charcoal Eruption from last gen. However, we do have Clear Smog as well, which is very useful for stuff like Sword Stance, Iron Hands, which goes around, or even just Dozo, which this team is fairly weak to otherwise. Outside of Arboliva, which even still, Arboliva has some issues if I have to go for Terra on it. So that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys enjoy the team though, and let's get right into the battles. Peace out, guys. Hey guys, it's Liv here, and in today's video, we're going to be taking on the Battle Spot Series 2 ladder with a team built around Flutter Mane Sun. If you enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe, and as always, 2 wins, and you have to like the video. If we get less than 2, don't worry about it. But we're taking on a team with Iron Hand, Murkrow, Dragonite, Sylveon, Sableye, and Gyarados. Okay, so good luck and fun to my opponent, and with that said, let's get started. I'm anticipating my opponent to probably lead off with most likely Iron Hands plus... I feel like Iron Hands plus Gyarados could be pretty good against my team. If not, maybe Iron Hands plus Dragonite. They have a really big issue with Kingambit outside of the Iron Hands, of course. So I feel pretty confident in bringing it in the back late game. I'm going to bring Flutter Mane and I'm going to bring Hariyama. These should help against the majority of the lead combinations. And I can use Flutter Mane as a really damning offensive piece here. We're going to bring Kingambit as Mon number 3. And I think Mon number 4 will probably end up being... I kind of want to bring Arboliva. I feel like Arboliva, Torkoal, or Ferrig all have good matchup. I'm going to actually bring Torkoal. Torkoal could be decent, if nothing else, at being just a good bulky Pokemon for the Iron Hands, which is something that I can't really say for Farigiraf or for Arboliva. Not only this, but they don't have a single Paradox Pokemon from the past. Meanwhile, I have Flutter Mane, so this could be useful in terms of boosting my speed if they get up a Tailwind. I could just literally go right hard into Torkoal, and then proceed to boost my Flutter Mane's speed by 2 stages, which... might actually matter for Gyarados or Dragonite. It wouldn't really matter for anything else, though. They are going to lead off with Iron Hands Gyarados. That's perfectly fine. We're getting to the part in the season where everyone has every Pokemon shiny, so this should be a fun change of pace, at least. We're going to go for the Dazzling Gleam here. Mostly just... actually, no, I'm going to go for Moonblast here into the Iron Hands, and I'm going to go for Fake Out into the Gyarados. I'm anticipating a Fake Out probably into either my Hariyama or just... maybe like a Protect from Iron Hands. I could also just see some sort of random bulk up, but I'm anticipating I could also see a Volt Switch. There's a lot of things I want clear, truthfully. I'm not really too sure. It depends on if it's Assault Vest or if it's like a Sword Stance set or if it's just like a bulk up set, because I think it gets bulk up as well. Really, it just depends on if it's set up versus like an AV set, and I think it also depends on if they decide to Terrestrial right away or if they're deciding to preserve it. But there's a lot of plays that Iron Hands can make. I think Gyarados definitely just clicks either Protect or Dragon Dance here. I don't think it clicks another attack. They are going to Terrestrial. This means that it has to be, yep, the Iron Hands. I didn't really think there was merit for another Terrestrial, and we see that it is flying, which is good to note. This will help defensively when taking on stuff like close combat, but it won't really matter against my Flutter Mane, so I'll definitely take that. All it does is just removes the 2x weakness, but it still does a lot. Even without the crit, this would have still been a 2-hit KO, so I'll take that. Meanwhile, my opponent's going to go for a Drain Punch here. Now, this is perfectly fine, actually. What I could proceed to do, I could probably just go for another... well, I might just go for Terra Fairy Gleam. I'm not too sure here. I think what I'm going to manage to do, I am going to go for the... I think I'm going to go for the Terra Fairy Gleam, yeah. Terra Fairy Gleam should be pretty decent against their team. And then I'm going to proceed to, in the off chance that this doesn't KO, I'm going to go for a knockoff into the Iron Hands, as that should definitely pick it off. If they're going to go for Protect on anything, that's perfectly fine. We know that the Iron Hands has Drain Punch. And we also know it has Quark Drive, technically, but it doesn't really matter. They don't have a single Pokemon besides Iron Hands that could actually even set that up. So I'm pretty okay with that. I believe Gyarados had Intimidate. I forget if it did or didn't, but it's not really a big concern either way. Realistically, this Mon just doesn't really do a lot against my comp right now because it didn't get the setup on turn 1. They're going to withdraw Iron Hands, it's perfectly fine. Into what? I don't really know, but other than Sylveon, nothing's really taking this hit that well. They're going to bring in Sylveon. Okay, so Sylveon should still take a good amount, but it's probably only going to end up at half even after the Terrestrial Gleam plus the knockoff, which I'm perfectly fine with. That just means that I need to go for a knockoff into that slot in the following turn, which is pretty okay for me. So I'm curious about what my opponent will do here. I'm guessing maybe like a Dragon Dance Gyarados, but I can't really see anything else going off here. Even if it does go for an attack, I'm okay with that. Even if it's right in the Flutter Mane, I'm okay with that. We're not going to take a ton. Meanwhile, this waterfall brings us just barely down to Sash. We do need to be a little bit concerned with a potential Sylveon going for a quick attack this turn. So what I think I'm going to end up doing, I'm actually just going to go for knockoff right into the Garrett. Well, actually, no, I'm going to go for... I think I'm going to go for the wide guard here, actually. I'm gonna call the fact that I don't think that they're going to go for quick attack here. And if they do, that's fine. Actually... So Sylveon will die if I click Moonblast. I think I'm just going to click knockoff here. Because either going to click quick attack and I can take out the Gyarados, or it's going to click hyper voice and I'll kill it before it attacks me. So I think in either sense I'm okay. Flutter Mane realistically just dies to Gyarados, which sadly is unavoidable, but I can't really kill Gyarados while also preserving Flutter Mane. The best thing I could do maybe would be to just switch out in the following turn, but even still, I think this is just in my best interest. So Sylveon is gone, and Sylveon being cleared is pretty huge for us. This should open up potential for Gambit later on, especially, well, it doesn't really matter now, actually. They're actually going to be pretty ballsy here and go for the Dragon Dance, though. I'm not sure why they made this play, but it works out really well for me, actually, because I can just go for a Gleam on the following turn, and then, oh, never mind. I was going to say Gleam plus Torkoal, but I don't even need to make that play anymore. I'm curious about what their last Pokemon is. It's probably going to be... If I had to guess, it's probably going to be Dragonite, because I feel like that both Sableye and Murkrow are good lead options, though Sableye, if any of the supports, would probably be a good one to bring in the backseat. My opponent is going to proceed to bring in the Sableye. Okay, so that means they have no Dragonite and they have no Murkrow. Really good for me, to be honest. So what I'm going to proceed to do here, I'm going to go for a Dazzling Gleam. Dazzling Gleam should get some serious damage off here. Meanwhile, I'm going to click the knockoff into Iron Hands. They could, in theory, actually... Oh, you know what? I'm no longer a Ghost type. They could actually just Fake Out me. And Fake Out could be pretty bad. I'm still willing to take that chance, to be honest. My backseaters should be pretty decent here, because they don't really have a great way to take out Torkoal immediately. And even still, I can get off some good damage with... oh, thank God, the Disabled Moonblast. That was, like, the worst thing they could have done here. But thankfully, though, I still have Torkoal that can go for Heat Waves, and that should be pretty strong. We actually just take out both Pokemon with Flutter Mane anyway. This thing hits obnoxiously hard. And truthfully, even with the crits, I don't think it mattered a ton because they could not have... Iron Hands wasn't the one... Well, Sableye wasn't the one that got crit KO'd. And KO'd only because of a crit. Which means they had no way to actually do anything other than... I guess just Earthquake was the best thing they had. But I still didn't lose both Pokemon to Earthquake here. So I'm pretty okay with that. And even if Iron Hands took that hit and they went for any sort of setup to guarantee that I could KO both my next Pokemon, it still died to knockoff. So with that said, let's get right into game number 2. Game number 2, we're going to be taking on a team consisting of Farigiraf, Arcanine, Roaring Moon, Iron Hands, Iron Bundle, and a Moongus. Okay, so because of the fact there's a Roaring Moon here, I don't really want to activate any sort of Protosynthesis, especially if I could force it to switch later on. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to lead off with Flutter Mane Iron Hands. I could potentially Fake Out that spot and then immediately take it out with Gleam. I think from here what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring... I kind of want to bring King Gambit in the back. King Gambit should be decent. Well, no, actually I don't want to bring King Gambit. I'm going to bring Farig for sure. And then I actually think I do need to bring King Gambit. King Gambit should be a decent option overall here. Actually, no, I'm going to bring Torkoal, because Torkoal opens up speed control for Flutter Mane, and I should actually always outpace it now that I'm thinking about it. But typically, though, I think that my goal should be to Fake Out turn 1 and then go for the boosted hit turn 2 into that Moon slot, and I think that'll be the best way that I can get around this Mon. Good luck, have fun to my opponent here, though, and let's see if we can pull out a win. Now, I am curious about what my opponent led here. I think it's going to be Moon Bundle. They're actually going to lead off with Farig Hands. So Farig Hands is interesting, but I totally get the idea behind this. They're essentially trying to deny me any sort of priority here, and they're going to try and get up a Trick Room. So what I'm going to actually proceed to do, I'm going to go for the Moonblast here, and I'm going to go for the knockoff here. Now this should actually, no, I am going to go for the knockoff here. I think ultimately this will be my best return, as stopping Trick Room should be pretty beneficial for me. Now I can definitely benefit from Trick Room thanks to Torkoal, but I still think that it's in my best interest to deny it, as Flutter Mane is a really strong win con in this match, as they don't really have a switch into it outside of a Moongus. Which if they brought a Moongus here, it's Iron Hands, a Moongus, Farigiraf, and it's one of Bundle or Roaring Moon on the bench, both of which had really good matchups here. So I would honestly very much so take that. I'm curious if Iron Hands is going to end up going for any sort of Fake Out here. it would definitely be a pretty good play for them. They're actually going to go for a Terrestrial here, probably on the Iron Hands if I had to guess. They are going to Terrestrial on Iron Hands, probably into Fire if I had to guess. Oh, the Steel. Okay, same point. Basically, though, they're trying to get into a resistance to Flutter Mane, which is perfectly fine. This is leading me to believe this is probably some sort of Assault Vest set, considering we saw Steel. The Moonblast will go off, though, and we're going to get some serious damage into the Farigiraf. Nearly does guarantee the KO, and with the Hariyama, we should be able to guarantee it. We're going to take a Psychic, though, which is a little unfortunate, but it shouldn't KO. So unless if Iron Hands also targets in this spot, we're pretty okay. Which it seems like they're targeting into the Flutter Mane. Yep, Flutter Mane does end up getting brought down to Sash here. Meanwhile, we're going to take out their Farigiraf. And despite the fact they did not go for Trick Room here, this is still really useful for later on, as it does open up potential priority. So I will definitely take that. With Farigiraf cleared from the field, we only have to deal with 3 more Pokemon. Albeit we are a little bit weakened, which is unfortunate. However, my Hariyama can still definitely be a good nuisance. And especially if they're going to let me end up getting off damage on the Iron Hands, this is beneficial. So I'm curious about what their next Pokemon is. I'm anticipating Bundle, though Moon also has a lot of merit here. Let's see. So they're going to go into a Moongus, actually. Moongus coming in is fine. I'm really not too concerned with this, truthfully. They're probably going to go for a Rage Powder here, which means I'm just going to target right into it. Clearing a Moongus is also really good for me, and if they're going to trade one of my Pokemon just to let their Moongus go down, I'm pretty okay with that. A Moongus definitely can't take both the Shadow Ball and the Guts Boosted knockoff. I would be genuinely surprised to see it do so. So I'm just going to attack right into it and just let one of my Pokemon go down. I think it's for the best. I think that they're going to probably go for Heavy Slam into Flutter Mane, and I'm fine with that in all honesty. Flutter Mane going down isn't really a big concern. Meanwhile, the Iron Hands, it's not going to do a ton of damage to my team outside of Flutter Mane. So, yep, we do see the Rage Powder go off here, and that's pretty acceptable. They're going to realistically end up just taking a Shadow Ball, which, despite not being Specs and we're only Focus Sash, this should still probably do around a third. It does a little bit less. Ugh, okay, well, that's fine. Iron Hands is gone. Well, not Iron Hands. Flutter Mane is gone, which is fine for me. I can bring in... I think I'm going to bring in Torkoal on the following turn, as Torkoal should be a decent option to just go for Heat Wave here. I'm not going to really go for anything else, as realistically it's always my best play to just go for the Heat Wave and get off the damage I can. Yeah, I think I'm going to definitely do that. Actually, no, I'm going to go into Frigg here, as Frigg has a pretty decent opportunity to go for a Trick Room here. Realistically, Trick Room should be decent. And not only this, but with the Trick Room up, I can win with Torkoal now that my Flutter Mane is gone. And seeing the fact that they bench one of Roaring Moon or Bundle, yeah, my play is always just to go for Trick Room. So we're going to get the Trick Room up. Meanwhile, I'm going to go for the knockoff again into the Amoonguss. I'm going to leave Iron Hands for one more turn, and then I'm going to start smashing it, because we know for a fact that Iron Hands is actually faster naturally than our Hariyama, which means that I can just guarantee get off a close combat in that spot. And even close combat plus Shadow Ball should do a ton of damage here. So clearing their redirection Pokemon will benefit me a lot. The Terrestrial isn't a stab, so I'm not concerned about like a Terrestrial Electric hit here. Hariyama's gone, that's still fine. Torkoal will be the slowest Pokemon in the field, and I can get off an Eruption here. So I'm pretty okay with this. Even if it's Assault Vest, it's still going to take a ton of damage. Fuck, we're Spored. Okay. That's a little bit annoying, actually. I forgot about that. Ugh, okay. So, this isn't great. This isn't great at all. Okay. We're gonna bring in Torkoal, and we're gonna hope that my opponent... We're gonna hope that they choke. We're gonna hope that they choke. Sadly, Torkoal's gonna probably end up getting put to sleep realistically, which is fine. We're gonna keep clicking Trick Room, because realistically it's always my best play to do so. I'm gonna click Eruption anyway, because it's just gonna be a high damaging fire option here. I just need to hope, really, at this point. Everything is down to if I can wake up early enough or not. They're going to go for Drain Punch here. That's fine. It does around half crit. Truthfully, it doesn't matter. It's still damage that they're getting off. And they're going to still put me to sleep anyway. Realistically, I need to wake up immediately. I need to wake up immediately to have any chance at winning this. Specifically, I need to wake up immediately with Torkoal on the next turn. So we're going to go for another Trick Room here, plus another... I'm going to go for a Heat Wave this time. But I need both Pokemon essentially to wake up here, or I lose the game. Because if Torkoal doesn't wake up here, then... Well, actually, Torkoal is one more turn to wake up if I can wake up Farigiraf this turn. Which will kind of be what this comes down to. Can I wake up Farigiraf this turn? Thankfully, as well, going for the sequence of plays, I can essentially guarantee that I am going to be hitting slower than they are. So they can't really put me back to sleep. And they're going to go for Pollen Puff anyway, which is huge for us, truthfully. So I need to wake up Frigg immediately. If I don't wake up Frigg right now, then I lose. Frigg off is fast asleep. Okay, so then my opponent guarantee wins. I can't really do anything about that. All they need to do is Pollen Puff and then go for like some sort of wild charge into Frigg, and that seals it for them. I'll go for Hyper Voice just in the off chance that I can take out a Mungus at least. Maybe I can get lucky and they'll target Farigiraf with Iron Hands. And that's kind of what I need to hope. That's really all I could do. Hyper Voice is going to go off though. Thankfully, we should be able to take... Oh, we don't even take out a Mungus. Yeah, okay, so that's definitely game. Definitely unfortunate, but we're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see. Maybe they do still target the Farigiraf here, and they do seem to do so. So I just need to hope again that they disregarded my Torkoal here. They do not. Okay, so yeah, this is game because objectively Iron Hand just KOs me next turn. I know for a fact I cannot do enough to it. So yeah, you know what? We're 1-1 for the day. We're gonna hope that game number 3 can go better, but I'll finish off just because the objective last turn here. Their Iron Hands objectively just KOs me, and then that's it. So we'll take out the Mungus, at least try and close some differential. Unfortunate, but they honestly played the game really well. I completely forgot the fact that I would underpace their Iron Hands, and that ended up really biting me in the ass. This Pokemon is one of the best for a reason, and it showed really well why it was today. But we have one more game still to win, though, and we're going to try and go 2-1. We'll see you guys in the next match. Peace. So moving on to our final team of the day, we're taking on a team consisting of Palmot, Roaring Moon, Annihilate, Garganacl, Hydreigon, and Dragonite. Okay, so looking at my opponent's team, they're definitely going to bring... I feel like they're going to lead off with some sort of combination of like Roaring Moon, Palmot. Palmot's a decent fake out option for them, and Roaring Moon also could potentially be a good Sash Breaker. Depending on... Actually, no, they probably won't lead off with Roaring Moon here. I think they'll probably lead off with... I don't know, they have a lot of different dragons, and I think they're all kind of shit against Flutter Mane. Realistically, I think that Hariyama... I know I've led this like the entire time, but I think that Hariyama and Frigg actually will be my good lead this time. I'm going to bring Flutter Mane in the back. And I think I'm going to bring Torkoal. Because Torkoal... Actually, not Torkoal. No, I think I'm actually going to bring... I kind of want to bring the Arvaliva. And I know that might sound weird, but mostly just because of my Terra Rock. And also the fact that I have Gleam for stuff like Roaring Moon. I think it might actually have some merit here. And also the fact that they also have Hydreigon. And they're going to probably Terra one of the two. That's fine. I don't really care which, but I think I'm going to do this. My Arvaliva is also meant to get around stuff like Garganacl anyway. So I think I'm going to do that. Realistically, I'm not huge on the King Gambit matchup here, though objectively it's not terrible. I have a little bit of concern though with the dual fighting, as well as the fact that Garg is going to do 25%, and this kind of does look like a team that would have wide guard at least, but still not looking great for me. Okay, so they lead off with the Roaring Moon and Hydreigon here. Fuck. Okay, so I'm gonna definitely go for Fake Out into Hydreigon here. Meanwhile, because I think that Hydreigon, if anything, will guaranteed have a Dark move. I don't know if Roaring Moon will. Well, actually, it probably will have Throat Chop, but that's fine. Let me double check real quick. Oh, right, it doesn't say what Protosynthesis it was. Pretty sure it was Speed anyway, but we'll see. We're going to go for, I think I'm going to go for the Trick Room. I kind of want to go for Terrestrial. I think I'm going to go for Terrestrial. Yeah, I'm going to go for Terrestrial, fuck it. Just to guarantee that I can take the hit. If I'm fake outing Hydreigon, then I only need to worry about Moon going for an attack here. They're going to Terrestrial anyway, and it's probably going to be into Flying. I would doubt it's Dark. Which, oh, they're going to Terrestrial Hydreigon, actually. And it's going to be into Go... Oh, you're fucking with me. You're fucking with me right now. That's so insanely hyper-specific, but it works out so obnoxiously perfect. I can't even be mad. That's truly why I love the fact that we're open Team Sheet right now. Because if this happened to me in a tournament, I would be mad. If this happened to me in like a tournament where I'm competing for CP, or if I'm competing for like a cash prize in the top cut, I'd be mad. But you know what? Where there's no stakes right here besides getting people to subscribe, I can't even be upset with that. But oh my god, what the actual fuck? That is such a hyper-specific thing. They needed to essentially think that I would guarantee go for Fake Out into that spot and pop their Terrestrial Ghost, which is like never run on Hydreigon. I honestly, if I wasn't doing Flutter Mane in the thumbnail because it's the first day of the format, this would objectively be getting a thumbnail here. But thank God that I thought to just in case go for Terrestrial here, just in case I needed to take a Dark Attack. Truly, like, insane predictions here. I'm speechless. I've run out of things to talk about. Genuinely. We're going to go for Knockoff, though. I'm going to kill the fucking Hydreigon, and I'm going to go for a Hyper Voice here. Hyper Voice is because of the fact that I know Hydreigon will just die to this hit, and I'm fine with that. I'm so okay with that. Really cool. Really cool they predicted that. I don't care. Their Hydreigon is gone. It mattered for turn 1, but only if I didn't click Terrestrial. And you know what? I'm pretty damn glad I did. And the thing is, too, is like, I can't even say this is like for some sort of Flutter Mane counterplay or anything, because objectively it still loses to Flutter Mane. Like, I can't think of the reason you would run Terra Ghost, besides to get around a fake out set, when their team isn't that weak to fake out anyway. Oh my god. I'm so sorry I'm stuck in that one point, but oh my god, it drives me insane. Just because of how good the play was on their end to call that, but it's just a building choice that I'm questioning. Anyway, we at least still have the priority blocked in there, and thankfully, they're going to go for Thunder Punch. They're going to take out Frigg. That's fine. I don't want Frigg on the field, to be completely honest. So it's Dragonite, it is Roaring Moon, and it is filler Pokemon. Now, at the very bare minimum, I have my Arboliva, which Arboliva should be decent. Arboliva actually could just get a free Gleam against this team. They have no resist. They have objectively no resist because their Terrestrial was a neutral hit. And I really thought they'd be, Terra Hydra. I thought it would be Steel though, or like Fire or Poison. Okay, so Moon comes in, perfect. So this is where we can actually guarantee. Now I do need to make sure that I calc this right, because I forgot if I calced it for singles or doubles. And if I calced it for doubles, then I was really dumb, but I'm not losing to another building mistake. Roaring Moon, 36 HP versus Arboliva with 220 special attack, going for a Dazzling Gleam. Yep, it kills. Okay, beautiful. So we're going to go for a knockoff here into the Dragonite, and I'm going to go for a Gleam into both Mons. Gleam should be decent damage overall. They're going to protect, that's fine. It objectively KOs Moon unless it's a really bulky set. The 36 HP, for anyone who's wondering why I made the 36 HP calc, this is actually specifically for any sort of Roaring Moon that are guaranteeing to speed boost. It's a really useful calc actually, because with the speed boost Roaring Moon, you still get like 220 attack, which doesn't change a lot of offensive calcs barring the Protosynthesis, but it does allow you to outpace a lot of common non-booster energy Pokemon. As, for example, Flutter Mane, it's a 50-50 with Sash and boost energy, same as Bundle for that matter. So you could typically guarantee that you're the fastest Pokemon in the game, at least within reason, barring one of the two having a booster energy. So it's a pretty good idea to do so, in my opinion. And a lot of teams do end up running that, so I figured it was useful to check for that calc when making the Arboliva set. I mentioned the builder, but you know, not everyone obviously watches the builders, and it's good to just, you know, force it onto you guys. It's a little bit of knowledge for anyone who might not have known because they didn't watch it. So, at the very least though, we're going to go for the Gleam plus the knockoff combination again. It should guarantee take out both of these. Like, objectively speaking, we should win the game here. Annihilate will be a little bit tricky, but thankfully, even if it is Scarfed, I have a Focus Sash, Flutter Mane in the back, and I'm only going to have to deal with Annihilate here. And if it is, it can't even tear around me either. They're going to go for Protect, so be it. I don't really mind this. They're just allowing me to single target it later on. Gleam should guarantee kill the Moon, especially because they can't tear around it anymore. So this Moon is gone. It's okay, so it's bulkier than 36 HP, which is also good information to note, to be honest. Because knowing that this is above 36 HP, this does mean, of course, that we are dealing with a bulky Roaring Moon, like a very bulky Roaring Moon. Terra Blast does nothing, it's a normal type attack, and it doesn't actually change the physical. I learned that from a comment a couple weeks back, actually, and I'm really glad someone taught me that, because genuinely, Bulbapedia was confusing as fuck with that information. But Roaring Moon actually cannot take advantage of the Terrestrial Terra Blast changing to a physical move because of the fact that it did not Terra. So it's actually a very weak special attack, thankfully, because of what they clicked. And I'm very curious, because they have U-Turn, Terra Blast, and Protect. I'm curious on what that last move even could be. Annihilate, I believe, is going to go down here, but even if it doesn't, objectively, even if it doesn't, I guarantee outpace them on the following turn. And I just go for Gleam with Flutter Mane, and Flutter Mane Gleam will guarantee KO both Pokemon. So, Knockoff doesn't KO. They're going to go for Drain Punch here, and they're going to essentially get up to pretty much full health, which I'm okay with that. We're going to just replicate the same series of plays here, because the best thing that my opponent can actually manage to do here would be to... It'd probably be to just... Well, no, because that's the thing. Like guaranteed, Roaring Moon cannot outpace me. Objectively, that is just a matter of fact at this point. No matter what set it is running, it cannot outpace, because of the fact that it had enough HP to take this hit. So it's either going to be a... Well, also the fact that we've seen it change moves, so it no longer has the booster energy speed. Even if it had booster energy, I should say. So we're going to guarantee get up a Gleam here. Gleam, objectively speaking, KOs Moon now. That's a sliver of health, it guarantee KOs. even if Annihilate is clicking Drain Punch, I'm fine with this, because in the following turn, I guarantee get a Moonblast in that slot. And we know it is not Salac Berry, we know it is not Scarfed, we know that this has no way to boost speed. Objectively speaking, Annihilate loses right here. The worst it could do is delay it another turn, but objectively it just loses the game. It does not end up dying, that's fine. Even if it goes to Drain Punch and Iron Hands, I'm okay with that. Knockoff will obviously not KO it, but it's just my best way to actually damage the Pokemon. They're instead going to go for a Rage Fist here, which thankfully they do, to be honest. I appreciate players who know that they just cannot win a game and they just go for the simplest, most streamlined option. So I do respect my opponent for that, at least, not stalling my time, not wasting theirs. But hopefully you enjoyed this, and if you did, leave a like and subscribe. Well, actually, you have to like and subscribe. You made it this far, and you saw definitively we went 2 wins, so you have to like and subscribe. But as far as members go, shout out to channel members being Josh K Ultra Player, Mia, Zeke Zero, Mata Shay, Nox Nocturnal, and Slade. Your guys' support on the videos is greatly appreciated, and if you want to see more, of course, make sure to hit that subscribe button for updates on future content. We'll see you guys in tomorrow's video, where we're going to be using a team built around Great Tusk. Peace out, guys.